When did you first start creating art?
So, I'm going to be honest, ever since I can remember, my parents were both art majors. It was always something that we were constantly doing as kids, me especially. I didn't talk very well as a kid. In fact, there was a period I just stopped talking, and the best way I could communicate was with drawing. So,
Wow,
yes,
really, that's cool. And did you have art teachers? Were you self-taught, or was it a bit of both? Obviously, your parents probably. I did not know that. So your parents were your first teachers, probably.
Actually, they didn't teach me much. It was something I just doodle a lot, but then I realized this was something I wanted to get really good at. So I just asked them for a bunch of art books, and that's what I did. I went through and I practiced like figure drawing, shading. I wonder.
One over here that was a really good one.
The How to Draw a Human Figure, the one by Art Fundamentals, that was one of my very first art books. And that was what I learned a lot from. And I just lived through that book. I had a great artist book, and I would practice drawing some of the famous art pieces, and that's what I did. So.
Did you have art in school as well, or?
I did. I mean, we all had our art class and everything, and I didn't get into an actual art class until my senior year in high school. So, yeah. And
but you were doing it long before then.
I was thrown immediately into AP art, so it was really fun.
So what inspires your art? What inspires you to create?
A lot of my dreams, and also a lot of nature, and of course movies and books when I was a kid, stuff like that. So,
is there any type of medium you have not tried that you might want to try one day? Something new?
I know for a while it was clay.
You said the first time you used clay, it didn't really.
No,
maybe it was a different kind.
Yeah, it was definitely a different kind, and it did not do well. And then I started watching a channel, Ace of Clay, and I'm sorry. He's in everything right now. He's usually not like this. All right, but Ace of Clay, fantastic channel. He actually inspired me to just give it a go, and it was awesome. Like, just fantastic.
I've never heard of that. Where
he's a brand new. Well, I won't say brand new. He's been here for a while, but it's a YouTube channel, and what he does is he just makes some little clay stuff, and he's like, all right, this is how I did this, and just goes from there, and it's pretty great.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Have you ever entered any art competitions?
Yes, I did a lot in high school, and then I kind of teetered off after that, and then with some LARP stuff, I did enter some art competitions, but I kind of found out that was not my thing.
Not something you wanted to do?
No, I don't like having to really. I don't like putting my art out there against other people's, if that makes sense.
It's not really in a competitive.
I am not a competitive person. Okay, so I take that back. I can be an extremely competitive person to the point I don't like it. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. So it's either all or absolutely nothing. So.
This is just me. I'd rather be inspired than be in competition. Like, be inspired.
Yes.
By people.
There we go.
And
that
share.
Is definitely
are you selling your art, and how could someone purchase it if they wanted to? And we will try to provide some links with the video if you like.
Actually, I do have a store up right now. but it's about to get completely redone. I was planning on doing digital art and doing more kind of simple stationery kind of stuff, like stickers, and I was gonna make magnets. I was gonna make clay magnets and make a bunch of like little knick-knack stuff and just kind of work myself up from there. Okay. Because I was like, this is something I really enjoy. And
are you digital art like Photoshop or Painter or?
Painting and drawing. So
just anything that would help you put
yeah.
something together digitally. That's something I'd like to learn more of.
Yeah, because I have like I've been using the tablet to draw, and it's just so awkward for me. Because I don't know, it's like my brain and hand can't connect, so I have to do it in these tiny little strokes for it to get the way I want it to. And I'm like, I just want to be good at this right now. I'm so impatient.
Is it like a Wacom kind of tablet where it's the tablet and then the screen is up?
It's actually that little tablet right there.
So you're not drawing directly on the screen?
Mm-mm. Okay. And so I was actually, I talked to Derek, I was like, you know what, I'm going to save up and I'm going to get an iPad Pro. We're going to get the Procreate because I see people just pick it up like that and I'm like, yeah, that's what I need. I was like, I'm too impatient.
Yeah, it's probably that disconnect where you're having to draw and look here and draw and look here.
It's learning an entirely new muscle memory because I found that it messes me up if I look down and then look back up at the screen because then I'll put my pen back down and it'll be all the way up here in the corner and I'm like, no! And so you're like hovering to find where it is and so you really have to... I don't know, my brain just does not like it.
I had the same issue. A friend gave me a Wacom tablet. I did an illustration for him, and he gave me one, and it's really strange. What have been some of the challenges you've faced and problems you've encountered while creating your artwork, and how did you overcome them?
So, this one is a little emotional. After high school and stuff, and I went to college, I went through a very strong, like, just kind of mental, just flat out depression. And I was in art college. I thought art was going to be something I was going to do, like, to provide for myself. This was something that I was meant to do and all of this stuff. And then I went to college and I was doing great in it, but academically I was not doing well. And then I just came to find out that school does not work well with me. And that took a huge mental toll on me. And I pretty much gave up art for about 4 years. I put it down and just didn't pick it back up. And that was one of the hardest moments. And it wasn't until a few years later is when I actually started to pick it back up again. And even then, it was a trudge. Even though I did all these during the time period, it didn't feel the same. Mm-hmm. And it was really difficult because what I would do is, after that long amount of time without consistently drawing like how I used to, because it used to be an everyday thing. Like, I could not see my life without doing art, and then just suddenly cutting it off and then coming back, and then your quality, the muscle memory, everything of it is just deteriorated. And what happened is I would start back into it, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love it, and then I would look back at my old art pieces and I would start comparing myself. Then I started getting when you look at a white page and you can't do anything about it because it's just intimidating. And I started to hate art. I really did. I was like, I hate this. I was like, because every time I look at it, I hate it. But then I was like, no, I really love it. So it was a lot of back and forth and constantly, it came to a point where one time I just only did one piece a year, and it was just, that was it.
Is it because you didn't feel like you were where you needed to be as an artist?
It was a lot of things.
Or was it just not coming naturally anymore?
It wasn't coming naturally.
Felt forced?
Yeah, very forced. It was something that took me a while to realize, like, I was putting so much pressure on myself for everything that I had to do had to be perfect. I became a huge perfectionist because if it didn't look good, I throw it away. Like, instantly, just throw it away. Like, throw it away. I hated it, and I wouldn't pick it back up, or I wouldn't pick it back up for months. And it was just a constant throw it away. And, oh my gosh, it was awful. But,
have you kind of come out of that somewhat?
Yes.
Or totally, or?
Not totally. It's something I still struggle with a good bit, but honestly, things like art challenges, that's helped me. Inktober, when it first came out, I was like, oh, that's cool, but, you know, I'm not going to do it. I think it was like 2016 is when I first heard about it. And then the next year, my friends started doing it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a shot. And I loved it at first. Then I started crash towards the middle, like a lot of people.
I think everybody.
Everyone does.
Like every day. Oh my gosh.
Because then you're like, I just can't do it anymore. But
it's like it's 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh!
And I haven't slept in 3 days.
But at the end of it, I was like, I'm still making stuff again,
yeah.
and it helped me get back into it. It made me love it. Granted, the whole everyday thing, and I was getting worn out, and then it was like social media, I gotta be posting it, and I'm like, and all these people are like, wow, your stuff's amazing. I can't wait to see the next one, and then there wasn't a next one. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I disappointed you. But and then, honestly, it's been like an on and off thing until last year, honestly. We went through this whole clean out all of our stuff, and I realized a lot of my old sketchbooks was what was holding me back mentally. I was like, you know what? These are wonderful, these are nice, and they are really talented, but I was like, I have a lot of negative emotion towards these now. And I was like, these do not serve me any purpose. And if anything, they feel like a ball and chain. So I ended up throwing away about 20 plus sketchbooks of my old art. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, how could you do that? Those are your memories. I was like, yes. But it had so much negative like feelings behind it. I was like, it's holding me back. And then after I did that, another thing I did is I have my art journal, and I just do my ugliest art possible in it. And it's my journal. It's my journal of I'm going to just, if it's a random doodle, you know what, just draw it. You know what, if it looks like garbage, great, perfect, even better. And that's the thing, is for me to just grab a pen, not a pencil, and just go for it. And it's so freeing. It really is. It really helped me. And then also I was like, because I started to get afraid of pen and ink too, because it was just permanent and I couldn't fix it. Oh gosh, that blew my mind. I was like, I can't fix it. It's not perfect. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something I've always wanted to try. And it was clay, and I picked it up, and it just kicked off running, and I started to love it. I started to get excited again. I just started making a million tiny little mushrooms and pumpkins, because I was like, why not? I love it. This is great. Please stop that. But it just, yeah, and now I've gotten to making a bunch of cats, too, so go figure. But it really picking up something new and just giving it a shot. And then having an outlet for me to just put it out for not anybody else, but for myself, really helped a lot.
That's amazing that you figured. I know that the first clay you worked with didn't work for you. What type of clay is
this is Sculpey polymer clay. It's kind that you bake. And that is what's so amazing about it, is because it still remains pliable. Like, you can set it down for a month without baking it and then pick it back up, and you can still just work on it. And it's so easy if you have like little mess ups or anything, and you can just be like, oh, nope, smooth it out. And then there's a bunch of different tips and tricks. Biggest one I had for this that completely rocked my world was finding out that if you put clay softener, if you like kind of paint clay softener on top of it, it'll help get rid of all those little fingerprints and smooth out those little things that you're like, oh, I just can't get it. That was a life changer. I will tell you that. Clay softener. So
I love the organic touch. You put some moss on there.
Oh my gosh, I love moss. I know it sounds really weird. I love how it smells, like in a little bag. And it's like that weird earthy smell.
It's like the forest floor smell.
Yeah. My mom would come out in the yard and she's like, Miriam, get out of the mud! I'm like, this is fantastic.
How would you like to grow as an artist in the future? Do you have like future goals that you want to meet, or are you kind of like just, I'm just gonna have fun with this right now?
I think I've put so much pressure on myself. I have like future dreams and all this stuff, and I'm like, you know, like my biggest thing is just, it's like having a healthy relationship, you know, because that's pretty much what it is to me anyways. It's just, you know, staying in love with it, you know, and just doing it for myself and keeping myself happy with this. And like, I do want to open, even though I kind of do still have like a little store open, but I want to not, I know that's what I was going to be partial with. I want this to be for myself. I want to fall in love and stay in love with my art again. And because I know people love it more when I'm doing it at my best. And it shows. It really shows when I love my art. And that's why I have these pieces, because this is, people can tell when I really love my art. So, and here's some.
My favorite thing when I am asking someone to do a piece of art for me is to be like, just make something.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're inspired, just make something, because I feel like when they have that freedom, that's when they're going to do their best work. They have absolute freedom to just
I will say,
themselves.
I love when people are like, oh, you know, like, just make something for me. And that's what I love to hear is for me, is because, especially if it's somebody that I know and I care for, and in that moment, it's like, I do have the pressure of, yes, I want this to be perfect and amazing for them, because I love them. But also, I want to show them what I see with them. You know, like, like with our friend's piece, I was like, he loves all of these things. And I was like, how can I bring that out in a way that it's him? Like that, you know, you just look at somebody and you're like, I want to make something that screams, this is them. You know, like, sure, I am making it, but here we go. This is you. And that's what I love to do. Like, that's what I really love.
That makes it so much more meaningful too.
It does. It does.
Do you have any words of encouragement for people who are trying their own hands at art, who are maybe a bit intimidated by trying to draw or paint or
ugly art journal? There is one thing. There are people who are art critics and people who are like, oh, you know, because I'm terrible at hands. I'm terrible at drawing hands. I'm like, don't look at the hands, please. But you'll get criticisms and such, and you know, like, yeah, sure, I can practice more on hands, And the hardest thing is taking criticism, but it's also the even harder, most difficult thing is taking criticism from yourself. Be gentle with yourself, especially with learning. Because when you're learning, that's also some of the best times that you will have and memories you will have with your art. Because with me, learning art was like fantastic. It was something I was just constantly wanting more from. I was like, how can I do that? Like, just constantly just wanting to know. Like, art books help, everything helps, but be gentle with yourself and do it for yourself. 100% do it for yourself. Like, nobody else really matters, because this is something that is a part of you, and this is for you. So,
it's great advice. Thank you. Thank you for letting us interview you.
No problem.
This has been a lot of fun.
This is fun.